Hi, I just wanted to give some instructions here for the Porifera and Cnidaria reproduction illustrations assignment. So, the learning intention on this one, we're learning about how organisms reproduce so we can understand the best ways to make sure they exist to support the ecosystem in the future. We're going to be looking at both asexual and sexual reproduction. So, our success criteria, I'll be successful when I can create illustrations of asexual and sexual reproduction in both sponges and cnidarians, and I can observe the differences between different life stages for both sponges and cnidarians. So you'll be given different types of asexual and sexual reproduction to illustrate with a diagram by creating your own original illustrations for this assignment. Basically, you can do this either on paper or using a digital program, whatever your preference is. It doesn't have to be a super detailed drawing, and you're not being evaluated based on your artistic talent, just on your ability to communicate the information that we're looking for here through some kind of illustration. You can create boxes based on the suggestions from the instructions to help separate each step of each type of reproduction, kind of like the panels of a comic. Make sure to add the labels, which are underlined in the instructions, to help you know what the technical names are for different structures or life stages. For some instructions, you will have to evaluate if a certain life stage in the life of one of the animals is sessile or motile. And here are the definitions for those terms. Sessile means staying in one place for most of a life stage attached to a surface. So, again, maybe it has some moving body parts, but it can't really move around. So, anything that is in particular settled on the seafloor is probably sessile. And then motile, able to move independently from one place to another. This is for something that commits to more active movement, which is usually what we end up seeing in animals anyway. So, again, if it looks like it's able to move around freely in the water, it is probably a motile body form. Also, keep in mind, sometimes you'll see the terms that we used when we talked about protozoan locomotion when we're talking about motile individuals in these illustrations as well. So again, each section is broken down. So you'll have one for porifera asexual reproduction, the sponges, porifera sexual reproduction, again, sponges, cnidaria asexual reproduction, so the jellyfish and their relatives, and then cnidaria sexual reproduction. With each set of instructions, you have the number of boxes and like what you're drawing in each one. If you're not 100% sure about what it is that you're drawing, again, most of what we've referenced so far, as far as the generic body shape for a sponge or a jellyfish, should work. So just keep that in mind. For really technical things, so for example, here in the second box on this first one, it mentions to draw a cross section of an adult sponge. I don't expect you to necessarily know what that looks like, but when you click on the link here where it says, look at this illustration if you need help drawing the cross section, it should show an image like this that shows, in this case, this is the cross section of a sponge. And again, I'm not worried about you putting all of the little labels that are here. I just want to see, okay, here's the sponge and here's what it looks like on the inside as far as your illustration goes. That's all that I'm worried about for that particular part. And again, the parts that are underlined are what you're going to add in as labels. So certainly whether or not a certain organism is either sessile or motile, again, stuck in one place or able to move around. And then specific structures. So, for example, in this one, we talk about several small circles on the inside of that sponge cross section. They'll be labeled gemmules. So, again, you would add that label GEMMULES to indicate that it's that specific structure on the inside. So, again, the instructions are pretty straightforward on them. After you're done completing the last set of illustrations, that's all that you need to do. Double check to make sure that your labels are included by looking at the underlined portions. Again, I hope this gives you a good opportunity to do something kind of creative to explore uh, the methods of reproduction that we're looking at here, and a little bit of comparison between what asexual and sexual reproduction looks like in these different animal groups.